Welcome to the deep dive, where we sift through the information and really surface the insights that matter. Today, we're digging into something really powerful, something that often stays, well, hidden in plain sight. Is kind of the silent engine behind, all the meaningful progress in life, or sometimes, unfortunately, the lack of it. Think about it for yourself. How often are we drawn to that idea of the big win? That sudden breakthrough, the lottery ticket maybe, or the miracle diet promising like a total transformation in weeks, or that one magic strategy for your career. We're almost conditioned to think success comes from those huge moments, but what if that's just wrong? What if real lasting change is actually way more subtle, more consistent, and maybe kind of boring day to day?
That's exactly the fascinating idea we're going to unpack. We're drawing a lot from Darren Hardy's work, the compound effect of small choices. And it's really more than just, a self-help book. It's a framework, almost like a scientific model for how big shifts actually happen. It's usually not about the grand gestures at all. It's about the build-up, the accumulation of all those everyday actions.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is to really get why those tiny, seemingly insignificant choices you make every day, why they are the secret to, well, radical differences in your life. Could be good, could be bad, right? It's like recognizing this invisible force that's just always there. So, how does Hardy first lay out this compound effect idea?
Well, he starts by making it really clear that it isn't just a metaphor, though metaphors help us grasp it. Think about compound interest with money. Most people kind of get that, right?
Yeah.
Your money grows, then the growth grows exponentially. Hardy says our habits, our decisions, our behaviors, they do the same thing. They multiply their effects over time. And this isn't just like philosophy. He frames it as a fundamental principle. It governs pretty much every part of your life, whether you're paying attention or not. So the choices you make today, they're not just isolated things, they're investments.
Yeah.
Investments that will pay dividends or collect debt later on.
I like that framing investments. Yeah, that makes it feel really tangible. Hardy really hammers this core idea, doesn't he? That success isn't some huge one-off effort. It's small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equals this radical difference. He puts it in that simple equation. Small, smart choices plus consistency plus time, radical difference. On the surface, it sounds almost too simple. What makes it so powerful, and why do we miss it so often?
Yeah. What's fascinating is how counterintuitive it feels, especially today, right? In a world that's all about instant gratification, our culture, social media, it pushes stories of overnight success, quick fixes. But the compound effect, it's slow, painfully slow sometimes at the start. It's pretty much invisible at first. And that's the big hurdle, People start a new habit, make that small choice, but they don't see results right away. So what happens?
They give up.
Exactly. They dismiss it. They quit long before it gets a chance to, well, compound. Those early stages show hardly any change, and that lack of quick feedback, it's frustrating. It leads people to just stop.
Right, and that's why the compound interest analogy works so well, isn't it? We get that if you put even small amounts of money away consistently over decades, it grows huge. We accept that for finance. But Hardy's saying, hey, this isn't just your bank account. He applies it everywhere. Your health, your relationships, career stuff, learning, everything.
Every single area.
Yeah.
It's all governed by this quiet, accumulating, ultimately unstoppable force.
Okay, you mentioned how powerful this quiet force is. But still,
Yeah.
when we look around or even think about ourselves, we keep chasing the quick fix, the big overhaul. Why do we do that? Why do we lean towards those, big wins, those radical changes that honestly are often hard to stick with? I mean, I've definitely chased the get fit quick thing before. We all seem drawn to it.
Oh, absolutely. It's very human. That allure of the big win, it promises immediate dramatic results. It feeds that desire for instant gratification we all have. You want to see the scale drop pounds by tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Or get the promotion next week.
Yeah.
But if we connect this back to Hardy's point, these big, sudden changes, they often fail exactly because they aren't sustainable. People just burn out. The initial effort is too intense. Maybe the deprivation feels too much, or the lifestyle change is just too jarring to maintain. The compound effect, though, it's all about the long game, not the sprint. It's about building habits you can actually keep doing, not just for a week, but for years.
Yeah.
Because they're small enough, right? They fit into your life. And there's another subtle thing Hardy mentions, the trap of comparison. We see someone who looks successful, fit, wealthy, whatever. Looks like it happened overnight. But we don't see the years, maybe decades, of those small, consistent efforts compounding behind the scenes.
Right, we don't see the work.
And that makes us want a shortcut. because we miss the reality of that slow, steady buildup.
That trap of comparison is so, so real. Seeing the finish line, but totally missing the thousands of tiny steps taken before, which leads right into Hardy's idea of the ripple effect. I find this really powerful. He says every single decision, no matter how small it seems, puts you on a path like dropping a pebble in a pond, right? The ripples go way out. Let's use some of his examples, like skipping one soda today, or just choosing water instead. Seems like nothing, doesn't it? Totally trivial. But over weeks, months, years, that tiny choice adds up. It leads to weight loss, maybe.
Yeah.
Avoids tons of empty calories. It can even change your taste buds over time. Or think about saving just, say, $5 a day. Feels tiny, right? Hardly seems worth the effort. Who gets rich saving $5?
Right.
But you do that consistently over decades. Those little $5 bits compound into something really significant. Hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions. But here's the kicker for me. The compound effect is totally impartial. It doesn't care if we call a choice good or bad, does it?
No, it absolutely doesn't. It's a universal principle. Like gravity, maybe. It just works. It simply magnifies whatever you feed it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've talked about positive examples.
Yeah.
But Hardy really stresses that it works against you just as strongly if your choices are negative or even just inconsistent. Like mindless spending those small impulse buys. Or always choosing the couch over a quick walk. Those things compound too. You don't feel it right away, but the ripple effect is there, pushing you away from your goals, maybe creating debt, or just slowly eroding your health. The compound effect doesn't judge, it just amplifies, for better or for worse. And what really makes Hardy's message hit home are the specific examples he uses. They make it so practical, like the story of the man who cut just 125 calories a day. I mean, that is tiny.
Barely anything, like half a candy bar.
Exactly. Or a few chips, maybe skip the sugar in one coffee. Almost unnoticeable. Yet he did that consistently for 2 years. And that tiny, painless cut, it resulted in him losing over 30 pounds. And he wasn't feeling deprived. He wasn't on some crazy diet he couldn't stick to.
Wow.
It just shows the power of working quietly, almost invisibly. He didn't suffer, but the small, consistent tweak made a massive difference.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How many times have we dismissed a small change because it felt like not enough, when maybe it was exactly the right size? And that's why his points on relationships really resonate too. You know, relationships don't usually fall apart or get amazing because of one big event, one huge fight, or one grand romantic gesture.
Right, or the daily stuff.
It's the daily stuff, the habits of kindness, really listening, communicating, showing empathy. Or on the flip side, it's the consistent, quiet neglect. The things left unsaid, the small dismissals, forgetting important dates, those add up.
They compound over time, absolutely. Those seemingly minor choices, day after day, they really determine the health of our connections. A relationship that suddenly blows up, you can bet there were probably years of compounded neglect simmering underneath.
These examples just drive it home. The change doesn't have to be huge to be powerful. Maybe it shouldn't be huge. Maybe the key is making it small enough, manageable enough, so that you can be consistent.
That's the core of it. Sustainability.
Yeah, it makes you stop and think for your own life. What's one tiny thing you could start doing today? Something that, if you did it for, say, 2 years, could create a really big result. Maybe it's reading just one more page each night, or making one extra phone call if you're in sales, or just a brisk 10-minute walk at lunch. The real power, like Hardy says, is in the repetition, not how intense the single action is.
And speaking of repetition and long-term effects, that brings us to the crucial element, time. Time is the big amplifier in Hardy's framework, right? It's the silent partner that just magnifies everything. Without time, none of this works.
Exactly right. Time isn't just, passing by. It's an active player, an exponential multiplier in the compound effect. It works like an accelerator for all kinds of choices. You make good choices, give them enough time, and they lead to extraordinary success, often way beyond what you initially imagine. The growth curve really steepens.
But conversely, if you consistently make bad choices, well, give those time, and they lead to painful failure. That downward spiral, it might be slow at first, almost invisible, but it gets harder and harder to pull out of. And maybe the most critical point Hardy makes. Even no choices, just drifting, inertia, indecision, sticking with comfy but unhelpful habits. Give that enough time, and it leads to mediocrity. Or worse, because the lack of deliberate positive action, that compounds too. It leaves you stuck or actually falling behind.
That is a powerful thought and kind of sobering. Even doing nothing has a compounded result. So you can't really opt out of this, can you? It's always running in the background.
Always running.
Hardy's message seems incredibly clear then. The compound effect is always working. It's not like a light switch you flip on or off. It's this constant force. It's either working for you, building things up, getting you closer to your goals, or it's subtly but definitely working against you, eroding things, pushing you further away. So, okay. What does this all boil down to for you listening right now? What are the practical takeaways?
Well, to kind of wrap up the core ideas from Hardy's compound effect, here are the main things we hope stick with you. First, real lasting success. It's built on those small, consistent choices, not the big, flashy, often unsustainable efforts. Second, the compound effect multiplies your results over time, exponentially, turning tiny actions into huge outcomes down the road. Third, and this is crucial, remember it works both ways. Positive and negative habits compound. Your choices are constantly steering your future.
Right.
Fourth, those big wins we chase, they're mostly illusions. It's the long-term, steady consistency that actually wins, every single time. And finally, time isn't just ticking by. It is the single greatest amplifier of everything you do daily, magnifying your actions whether you notice it or not.
Absolutely. So we've really seen today how those small, smart choices, done consistently over time, they genuinely create radical differences everywhere in life. It's not about the grand gestures, the huge sacrifices, or waiting for some epiphany. It's about the daily, almost invisible stuff. Choosing water, taking that short walk, saying one kind thing, reading one more paragraph, maybe really listening for a moment. It's about being intentional with those tiny, consistent inputs.
Yeah, and this really leads to an important question for you, for everyone listening, to maybe think about today. What's one single, small, consistent choice you could start doing, like right now? Something that, if compounded over the next, say, 2 years or 5 years, could radically change a key area of your life, your health, money, relationships, career. And maybe just as important, what seemingly minor neglect or small negative habit are you kind of overlooking right now? Something that might be quietly compounding against you, putting you on a path you really don't want. Just understanding this invisible force is the first step. But harnessing it, that's where the real transformation can begin.
Really powerful questions to sit with, and just an incredibly insightful deep dive into this silent but unstoppable power of our tiny daily decisions. Thank you for joining us today. We really hope this conversation encourages you to think about how you're using this amazing force in your